Yesterday it was snowing here in the Netherlands. Today it is 8 degrees with rain and it is the middle of February. So perfect circumstances to test a car with over 1,000 horsepower. My name is Peter, welcome to Autogood Fuel, and of course you recognize the Tesla Model S Plaid. An iconic car from Tesla, and by now it is more than 14 years old, so it is a very old design. But I think it's 2021 when we got the refresh, the big outside refresh in this current form factor, and also when we got the Plaid models. And it is an iconic car, of course, because it is a crazy package with crazy power and crazy numbers. But it is also an iconic car because this was the real breakthrough from Tesla when it started the sequence of producing the 4 models that spell the sexy name. And these days though, it's not really sold that much here in the Netherlands anymore, really a handful of cars each year, just like the Model X that we drove a couple of videos ago. And just like that Model X, it is going to go out of production soon because Elon wants to make his robots in the factories that now produce this car. But it is truly special. So when Tesla Netherlands said they had this one in the press fleet as well, of course I said yes to give it a sort of last hooray and drive it one more time. So in this video I'm going to show you outside what are the latest updates, what makes this the Plaid. We're going to do the same on the inside, and of course we're going to go for a drive in this monster. A little tour around the car starts here at the front, where we can recognize the Plaid version by this deep glossy black spoiler. We've got a little bit of carbon here around the logo as well. And I think in general in this lunar grey it is a very good looking vehicle. I quite like that there's some actual functionality here as well. Like here on the side, for example, you can see that the air can go through there to form an air curtain down the car for a bit of extra aero. And if we walk down the car, you can also see the closed wheels for that little bit of extra air management and extra range. It is a large vehicle, basically 5 by 2 meters big, so it is a big footprint on the road. But I have to say, stepping out of the Model X that we did in the previous video, straight into this one, it feels like a much smaller vehicle because you're missing so much height. If I stand next to the car, you can see that it is way under my shoulder line. So it is a low to the ground vehicle, which in turn makes you more involved in the driving, if you want to call it that way. But it does give you a very different driving experience. Walking to the back, it is a nice and chunky bottom, and I really like the sculpture that they've put throughout the hips of the car here. I really like those lines curving inwards. And here we have a big diffuser and of course the Plaid badge, and on top some carbon accents like this little spoiler over here. All around good looking vehicle, I'd say. It has started to rain, so that's a good time to do a tour through the interior of this Model S Plaid. Of course, you know what you're going to get. It's the typical Tesla minimalism, but specific to the S, also to the X that we drove the other day, is that we still have a driver's display, so that is quite nice. The interior that you see here is the black and white premium interior with carbon accents, so that's the strips here on the dash and also here in the center console. So that's what you get, and we have the sport seats as well. And other than that, of course, the big thing that you notice is the yoke in front of me, the half steering wheel. They literally just chopped off the top half of the wheel. I'm not completely friends with it, to be honest. I prefer a normal round wheel. After driving this car for a week, you get used to it. But it's so intuitive to grab the top of the steering wheel when you want to make turns, especially at lower speed. That I've almost every time I drove this car, I've sort of misgrabbed, like, oh yeah, there's nothing here. So you have to sort of really adjust the way you handle the wheel in terms of this yoke. There's not a single button here to be pressed. The buttons on the steering wheel are fully capacitive, and even the alarm hazard light button down there is a capacitive button. The only switch gear that you have are the wheels on the yoke and the window switches, and that is it, because even the door handle is an electric button. So that is what you can expect from Tesla, and that is what Tesla also delivers. Other than that, the experience in here, especially in the front, is of course completely dominated by the giant screen in the middle, which is everything that you want and come to love from Tesla infotainment system. Everything is here, everything you want to do with the car. The color is correct, by the way. Your controls, your dynamics, your charging, your autopilot, your lights, your locks, your seats, everything is here. And it works blazing fast, and it does anything and everything you can imagine. All your apps are here, from Spotify to YouTube to your Google account. You can connect everything and anything there as well. And it is absolutely everything that you want. This is, as far as I'm concerned, the standard of the car industry. I wish all systems were this comprehensive and this fast. For this 2026 model, we also have the updated interior light strip all the way across and also down here on the side. Very nice. Driving at night, it's a lovely experience when the screens dim completely and you're cocooned in this car low to the ground. It is quite nice. It's a good experience, I have to say. And other than that, there is a lot of light in here because of the panoramic roof above me, as you can see. It is the full length of the car. There's so much light coming in. And the car is already light because of this light interior. But even with a full dark interior, you get so much extra light. It is just lovely. And it is a lovely place to be. It's a good position to sit. It's a good place to be. You're low to the ground in this form factor, of course, other than the Model X, where you're really on top of the car. You're really in the car, cocooned in the vehicle, close to the ground. And with this, yeah, you have a little bit of that race feel also with the sport seats, by the way. And it's a good place to attack the car, to take control of your vehicle, which you have to because there's so much power under your right foot. But yeah, it's all around. It's a good place to be with visibility the way you want it to be. There's no rear wiper though. That is a downside. Of course, the droplets blow off while you're driving or when you turn the heater on full. But it's just not as good as an actual wiper back there. The front wipers, by the way, because you don't see any stalks back here, you control with a capacitive button on the steering wheel, and then you can change the settings on the left with the scroll wheel. Then the seats, these are the sport seats, heated, cooled, ventilated, everything that you want, of course, and I fit in them quite nicely. You can see the contour line of the seat here. They're not very thick, they're quite thin, but well shaped, flare out for the shoulders nicely, and it is all round a comfortable seat to sit in. The same roundish headrest as in the X though, so I don't like it that much. I have the feeling that I slip off all the time. And specific to the Plaid, we have the Plaid badging in here in sort of glossy black. I don't like it that much. I would prefer if this was colored too, like on the outside badge, but it is showing you that you have the Plaid. So the first thing I want to show you when we start driving is how to deal with this yoke at low speed, because that is a bit of a thing. So we're in a normal residential neighborhood now. We're getting out of where I live and we're going to turn left here. So turning left, you really have to push up in order to make the full steering action. And then there's nothing here to continue your push. So that is a little bit strange. Then we're going to do a little parking maneuver here. Pulling up, doing parallel parking on the right. So first we got to swipe down for the correct driving direction. And then going back, you also again have to push up. And there's sort of, again, nothing to grab onto here. So you miss where you're grabbing a few times. And then going back forward, you got to turn that way again. I hope it comes across a little bit, but it is sort of strange not to be able to grab anything on the top here. Now, is it undrivable? Certainly not, but it does give you a lot to think about while first getting to grips with this car. And it is weird that there's nothing here to grab, because I've been driving with a round steering wheel for the past 25 years. So it does present a bit of a learning curve. Add to that the indicators are buttons, capacitive buttons here on the wheel as well, and things can get a little bit confusing at times. So turn that on, and then, yeah, again, there's nothing here to grab again. So if you're somebody that's used to sort of turn the wheel with one hand, that is also tricky with this. Any other situation though, I have to admit that you sit like this most of the time anyway. So, you know, highway driving or sort of bigger road driving, no issues, that's quite fine. And also when you're chilling on the highway and you put your hands on the bottom of the wheel, again, that is fine. When we're turning though, because you're sitting like this, you can see that I'm often getting awfully close to the top of my legs, and I'm even hitting it often with my hands. So that can also be a little bit annoying, that you get sort of crossed with, because nobody drives with his hands crossed like this very often, but because this is where you grab the wheel, you end up like that a lot. It is nice, I have to say though, to have a fully unobstructed view to your driver's display and out of your window, so there's nothing up here that's blocking your view. That is actually quite nice and does give for a very clean look and interface that way. Then we got to talk money. The price of this Model S Plaid here in the Netherlands is €119,303. The color on the outside is stealth gray. That will cost you an additional €2,600. You do get the 21-inch Valerium rims for free, so that's good. This black and white interior, premium interior with carbon fiber decor and sport seats will cost you also an additional 2,500 euro. Then there is a few documentation costs, a few taxes and some recycling costs for a grand total for this car here today of 126,090 euros. And that is unrivaled in the car industry. This kind of performance for this money you can't get anywhere else. If you look at potential competitors in this power range, Porsche Taycan Turbo S GT starts at 250,000 and up from there. A bit more realistic, the sister model, Audi e-tron GT Performance something, starts at 165. So significantly more expensive for the amount of performance that this car has. And if I look at the spec sheet here, 0 to 100 in 2.1 seconds, 322 top speed, and a WLTP claimed range of 611 kilometers, unrivaled in the car industry, what you can get for your money, for this kind of money with this Model S Plaid. Side note there is that I do understand that the Porsche especially is slightly less sensitive as this Model S to get the full performance out of it. There's no drag strip mode and preconditioning mode and cheetah mode, and the road has to be correct and all those kind of things, and after 2 pulls it starts to drop power already. Fair enough, there are some, side notes to be had there. But in general, this performance for this money is unrivaled anywhere else in any showroom. Now, of course, we also have to do a little bit of highway driving because there is a bit more space here for the size of the vehicle, but also for all this performance. Obviously, driving around with this kind of horsepower under your right foot comes with a lot of responsibility. And part of that responsibility is judging the circumstances. As you can see outside, there is quite a bit of traffic around, and it is also raining at the moment. So we're not going to go all too crazy because it's simply dangerous when you start to take liberties with this kind of power. Not only for the acceleration, because the rubber only has so much grip, but especially for braking, because the speed that you gain in a short amount of time is multiplied by several factors in order to slow it back down again. And the space you need for that is simply not available in most circumstances. I'm going to say the same thing here as I said in the Model X Plaid review, which is effectively the same powertrain. There is a good argument to be made that a mandatory driving training should be included with this car. Because there is so much power available, and in a vehicle this big and heavy, you're effectively driving a low-flying missile. So, certainly not something to get cocky with and start to take liberties, because the rest of traffic is simply not ready for your speed, your acceleration, and you closing gaps that might be perfectly reasonable within the capabilities of the car, but simply not with the rest of traffic. Because most people, unfortunately, can barely keep the car in a straight line, let alone be aware of what's happening around them. And if you come sailing by with 1,000 horsepower and you're foot pinned, then, bad things are definitely going to happen. That said, it is fantastic to drive with this kind of power as long as you respect it and respect the circumstances as well. Because you are by far the fastest vehicle in all of traffic. You can forget about any Porsche, Ferrari, fast Audi or BMW or anything else on the road. You will be faster and then some than they are. To give you a bit of an example, since there's somebody pushing behind us now, we're doing 114 and we're in the middle mode. If I floor it, we're doing 180. It is absolutely incredible how fast you gain speed with this vehicle and this kind of power. And that is in the middle mode, so it's not even the full Plaid mode with 1,000 plus horsepower available. It is absolutely crazy. I mentioned the modes earlier. The comfort mode is for in and around town. The standard mode that we're in now, I don't know exactly how much horsepower each mode has, but the standard mode is already more than plenty for here on the highway. Any gap, any overtake, any opportunity, you can basically do it anytime, all the time, everywhere. Because there's so much push that distances really disappear in the blink of an eye. The problem obviously is to slow it all back down. So that is something that you have to learn to live with. This car has the standard steel brakes, so not the track pack. And I think the brakes will probably give up first before anything else starts to go wrong. Because the brakes have to work really hard, especially when you're doing a lot of different pulls and driving a bit more aggressively. the brakes get punished quite a bit. So if we put the power aside for a second, the car itself is a very pleasant cruising experience. The yoke also becomes a lot more manageable here, where in slow moving situations you often miss grab if you don't pay attention. Here, obviously on the highway going mostly in a straight line, it is quite relaxing to drive and also to hold here on the bottom if you want to. So that, you know, is very manageable here. I don't like the buttons and the capacitive things here on the steering wheel too much. I prefer a stock for my blinkers and a stock for my wipers because, yeah, it's not really a solution this way apart from making it more minimal in terms of design. I don't really like that I have to press the wiper button and then use a scroll wheel to find the correct setting for it. That's a bit cumbersome if you ask me. But it's pleasant to cruise, it's quiet in here, it's good range, good speed, good everything. You put it in autopilot and it's a very, very relaxing driving experience. Do you need 1,000 horsepower? Absolutely. Under no circumstance do you need that kind of power. But it is fantastic to know that you are the fastest car around. But I'm pretty sure that if you have this car or even the Model X that we drove last week, you will lose your driver's license at some point, because the way this gains speed, you just saw the pull, it's incredible. And you will at some point get caught off guard and do all kinds of speeds that are certainly not allowed. So, you know, be ready for that when you purchase this car. And that's an interesting question actually, who this car is for. In many ways, this is of course the ultimate Tesla experience. It's the oldest model, it's the most power, it's the coolest looking, I think. Even though you could argue that the Model 3 maybe offers 75% of the experience in terms of space and usability. It is, of course, the whole Tesla software, it's the supercharger system, it's everything that Tesla embodies you'll find in this car. So it's certainly for a Tesla fan. If you look at the price tag, I mentioned the competition earlier. The Porsche Taycan Turbo S GT is twice the price of this car. The Audi e-tron GT Performance Super Spec is a bit more approachable, but still a whole chunk more expensive. So, you know, you're getting a deal with this car in terms of what it delivers. And I don't think neither of those two cars really offer the same practicality and space on the inside. Boot size, probably also not, and certainly not the convenience of the whole Tesla supercharger network and the excellence of the Tesla software. So those two cars might be the only real world competition, apart from some crazy Xiaomi cars and some Rimacs and that kind of stuff that you don't really see in the real world. So yeah, I think putting those things together, this is yeah, certainly a car for the fanboy maybe, but also a bit of a deal. And the fact that it's going out of production is kind of sad, because I would love to have seen a follow-up version of this vehicle. And with that, that's the end of the video. That's all I got for you in this one. Let me know how you feel about the Model S, if it's indeed an icon of the car world, or if this is a marketing exercise from Elon Musk or something else altogether. I think it's quite the car, and I think it's too bad it goes out of production, but it is also a landmark, I think, in the car development, and in many ways also a car that has kickstarted the whole push for electrification, software development, car development. This car really set the tone 14 years ago. For now, thank you very much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel, of course, if you want to see more videos. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.